Dear Lord, I hope you hear my prayers. Because we really need you down here. From all the pain that we going through, we know that you're real, so can you fall through? Father, have mercy, come. Dear Lord, I hope you hear my prayers. Because we really need you down here. From all the pain that we go through, we know that you're real, so can you fall? Father, have mercy on the call. But I just want to follow. So you ain't here to play with. I was a children of the sensation. Yeah. Boy. Come on, boy. Look, I keep it loyal to the team. UPK play for kings. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck. And my younger than a sweet. This a whole nother way, boy. Tell them get the fuck off the beach, boy. I'm in the field with the cleats. Ain't one of us here breach. They come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. Ain't one of us here breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat, boy. The shit is too easy. I'm on go, but they don't believe. You know I'm winning with the team. Screaming, Vinny, bitch. And the devil screaming out, bloody murder. I'm about to cut the curtain. I'm on my grind, bitch, I'm working. Sorry, all them lies, that ain't working. Them niggas weak, they the church. I'm a West nigga, that's for certain. When it comes to line, I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna hit his ass with his knife. And I come through 300 strong, 144 a night. All my niggas weak. I'm in this bitch with the ice. That all y'all do the sweet. Tell y'all it's good sweet. When nigga made the wrong move, when he make his ass out the lead. He ain't one of us hit the lead. He ain't one of us here free. Come through all black gully jack, man. All the niggas go retreat. I keep it loyal to the T. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck. And my younger than a sweet. This a whole nother way. Tell them get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. Ain't one of us here breach. They come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. Ain't one of us here breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. You see this look that's on my face, bitch, I'm for real with it. I hit the street, but on my dick was in the field with it. You saw this cotton just an after Uncle Phil with it. And then my target's on the move. But I can still hit it. Hey, I speak true cause it's necessary. Color Jack revolutionary. Cold on him like January. Commander General is a visionary. Soul food, no sweets. Your preacher man, he's sweet. Matter of fact, he weak. It's war time for peace. Think you hard, nigga, you ain't. But with us, nigga, you can't. You smart cars, we takes. We form up in ranks. We body bad, this rap shit. All black, no gray shit. Real life, no cap, bitch. Fall on them, that's cap shit. I can't lower to the team. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on the deck. And my youngest did a sweet. This a whole nother way. Tell them get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. Ain't one of us here breach. Man, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. Ain't one of us here breach. Come through.
All right. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Hashem Shabbat Thumb. To all the brothers, that means may Yahweh bless you in the name of who the world calls Christ. And to all you sisters, Shalom, Yahweh Shamar Alathan B'Hashem Yahushai. That means may Yahweh watch over you sisters in the name of who the world calls Christ. I'm Priest and Officer of 50 Sharia 1 under Commanding General YAHANNA, and we are the I.S.U.P.K, which is started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. The Israelite School of UPK teaches the truth of the Bible We've been doing so since 1969. All right, we're teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that they are the children of God, the Israelites the Bible speaks of. And we're trying to come back to our identity, separate from this culture, this oppressive culture that we're in, separate from those, from our enemies, out of the hands of those that oppress us, come out of their culture, come out of their ways, come out of speaking English, come out of celebrating Easter, Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, all the things that they celebrate here in this country. We're trying to separate ourselves from those customs. You understand? We're trying to separate ourselves from those customs and come back to our culture. All right? Come back to the language that our forefathers spoke. And that was Hebrew. All right? Every Friday night in the I.S.U.P.K, we're teaching Lashawan, Qadash. All right? We're teaching our original language. We're teaching the Hebrew. All right? The I.S.U.P.K, we're not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite or Christian group. We have no affiliation with any group outside of us. All right? And we're going to get into our lesson. So today for Lashawan Qadash meaning holy tongue, ancient tongue. All right? Tongue meaning language. All right? In Christianity, they would have you think that tongue or speaking in another tongues means to say some gibberish, some Google Gaga, hum dibbity bum bum, whatever they say. All right, speaking in tongues is speaking another language. All right, that's what tongues mean according to the Bible. All right, and we're gonna get into our lesson tonight. We're teaching Hebrew. We're gonna start off with the alphabet, like we do every Friday. In the Hebrew, we have characters. We don't have letters. All right, in the Hebrew, we have characters. 22 characters in the Hebrew. All right, and each of these characters means something. So these 22 characters are A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, and a Tha. All right? Each of these characters means something. Right? Like the the name of this character is Allah. It's the picture of an ox or the head of an ox. You have a Bayath, meaning house. Gamal, meaning a camel. All right? Each of these characters means something. All right? So as we practice writing out this alphabet, right, just like you would in English when you're teaching a kid, you start off teaching them the alphabet, or in any language, you learn the alphabet, you learn to pronounce the alphabet. All right, no different in the Hebrew. So we got A. This is how we pronounce each character. We have a A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Tha. All right? That's how we pronounce each character. Just doing a slight review. If you want more information on the alphabet, check out our classes on this same YouTube page, No Cowards Canada. All right. You can look up a Lashawan Qadash class and just type in the basics or the Hebrew alphabet or the Lashawan Qadash alphabet. All right. All of our classes are titled. Shouldn't be too hard to find. If not there, just type in I.S.U.P.K, Lashawan Qadash. All right, and lots of classes will come up. And they'll get more in depth into the 22 characters. All right. But again, in No Cowards Canada, you scroll through our channel, you will see classes on the alphabet. All right. It gets a little more in depth, lets you know the name of each character, what each character represents. All right. And how to pronounce it. So this is the Lashawan Qadash. Some people call it the Paleo Hebrew. All right. This is just the original Hebrew. All right. All the different languages that we know today all come from this language. All right. This is the language that Adam spoke, passing on to his sons through the generations. You get to Noah, right? And then you have a flood where the Most High wipes out the earth. And Noah teaches his sons, right? Noah speaking the same language, right? Then you get to a time in history where the Most High confuses a language. He divides the nations. He divides the tongues. Everybody starts speaking different languages. And this is where you get different languages and dialects today. All right. Today, what the world would know as Aramaic, or they would call it today Hebrew, also known as Yiddish or Assyrian. It's a different type of Hebrew. We're also going to practice or get to know the Assyrian Hebrew. All right, just a different dialect of Hebrew, or a break off of the original Hebrew. And the reason we also study the Assyrian in this class is because most of our manuscripts are written in the Assyrian. All right. Most of our manuscripts are written in the Assyrian because of different captivities in our nation, the nation of Israel, mixing with other nations of people. All right, so the Assyrian, we're going to go over those 22 characters. We got a A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya. What's that like? I take that little. All right, that still looks good. So we got Abba, Gada, Ha, Waza, Ka, Ta, Ya. We have a Ka. So in the Assyrian, there's actually 2 different characters for 5 of the symbols or 5 of the characters. All right. And all this is that when you see the second character, or the time you use the second character when spelling a word, when you use it at the end of a word, you would use this character. So, for example, if you just had, let's say, so Bayathka, and you have the ka at the end of the word, right? That ka at the end of the word would be like this. If you had it in the middle of the word or anywhere else in the word, you would use this symbol. All right? So the ka would look like this if it was anywhere else in the word. When you have a ka at the end of a word, you use the second character. All right? So we have ta, ya, ka, la, ma, ma, so, all right. Pa, pa. Shaka. All right, so there's the Assyrian. There's 22 characters. We got ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, ta, za, kwa, ra, sha, tha. All right. And there's your 22 characters in the Assyrian. All right. Again, that's what most of our manuscripts look like today. The 1611 King James Version, written in the Assyrian and the Greek. That's where we get our English translation from, the 1611 King James. All right. And damn near identical to the recently found Dead Sea Scrolls. All right. If I'm not mistaken, the Dead Sea Scrolls were found around 1940s. I'd have to look that up to get the exact date. But there were scrolls that were recently found. And those texts are identical to some of the older manuscripts that we have. All right. So, again, this is the Assyrian. We call it the Yiddish. All right. The language that the Amalekites speak today. Amalek in the Bible is who you would know today as, these are the people who the world calls Jewish. They are those Caucasian people living in Israel. They are not the children of God. They migrated there, I believe it was during World War II, around 1946. All right. And they converted to taking on the religion of Judaism. All right. And Shalom Barak Ya Allah, Yahweh Shem Yashai Barakatah.
Shalom Yahweh Shem Shabbat.
And what's going on, Hebrew?
Just finished work, coming into class.
Gone. Khan, if you're able, put your mic up. You're a little quiet right now.
Canada Wakan.
All right, so yeah, again, this is the Assyrian. And that's it for the alphabet. All right. So what we're gonna go into today, the topic for today is present tense. All right. Present tense. That's the topic for today. And before we get into that, we're going to do a little review. And then we'll use some of those words that we review into our topic. All right. So we're going to write out a couple verbs. We'll write out a couple nouns. All right, then we'll get into our topic. Salakia, Brakia Allah, do you know how to say the word love? The verb love in the Hebrew?
La. La.
La. No sweat. So what you would say in the Hebrew, you would say la'ah yadai. All right? I'll just write that up there. Remember asking you a question and you don't know? All right? You would say la'ah yadai.
Slovakia, other one.
John,
What does Yadai mean?
yadai means know. To know something. So if you say la'ah yadai, you're saying I don't know. All right? In the Hebrew, we try to use as few words as possible to get right to the point and explain what we're talking about. We try not to use lots of words, right? So la'ah yadai just means I don't know. All right, so some verbs we got. The first one, love. Love is ahab. Ahab. All right? Ahab. The next word we got is to eat, which is a call. A call. A call. So again, we got to know is Yadai. 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 Salakia, Baraka Allah. Do you know how to say to walk?
La Yadai.
La, no sweat. Where's my volume? All right. So to walk is yalak. Salakia, yalak. Yalak. All right. So here's an example of what I was saying earlier. Again, with the ka in the Assyrian, you have two different characters. When you put the ka at the end of a word, this is a symbol that we use, or the character. All right. Yalak. All right. Another verb we got. This word is to do or to make. All right. In the Hebrew, we say Aisha. 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 All right. And one more we got is to sit. Salakia Brakyala, do you know how to say to sit? You may have heard it in a couple classes after the prayers.
La Yadai.
La Yadai. No sweat. So what we would say is, if we're telling Akim to sit, we would say Yeshabia. All right? Depending on the tense that we're in. But just to sit is Yeshab. All right? Yeshab. Yeshab. All right. But what we'll do after we get down these verbs and nouns, Brock, I'll give you a little quiz, and we'll just see if we can form a couple sentences. All right.
Canada Wakan.
We'll do we'll go over 3 different sentences. We'll see if you can get them down. All right.
Canada Wakan.
Just for some practice. All right. So these verbs we got up here, we got love, which is ahab, to eat. We have a call, to know, is yadai. To walk is yalak. To make or to do is aisha. And to sit is yashab. All right. So in the English, when we form out sentences, right, we use nouns, we use verbs, we use pronouns, suffixes, right? These are the way that we form sentences. And it's the same in the Hebrew. All right. So those are our verbs for today. We'll do a couple nouns. Brock, I'll see if you can help me fill these ones out. So we got father. We got mother. Store. Dinner. All right, we'll just do those. So Salaki, Baraka, Allah. You know how to say father in the Hebrew?
Salakia, I think
It's what?
Abba.
Abba. Correct. And you know how to spell that out?
With an I and a Ba.
I and the Ba. Khan. Ba. All right. Do you know how to say mother in the Hebrew?
Amma.
Amma. And how do you spell that?
With an I and a Ma.
And the Ma. And do you know how to put the connectors down? How you sound it out?
The connectors going downwards.
Both of them?
Canada Wakan.
Yeah. So ah is on its own and the ma is on its own. So we pronounce it ah and a ma. Um, bu- 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 Do you know how to say child?
Yalad.
Salaki, one more time. It's a little hard to hear you.
Yalad.
Yalad. Yalad. What does Yalad mean? I think Yalad is day. No?
La, the one. Days are Yawam.
Yawam. God. I actually think you're right on Yalad. I have something else written down here. I have Banya. Let's see if I can look that up really quick. I know Ban means son. Yalad. That sounds very familiar. I just want to make sure. So I actually have the word for children. Children being Banya. And another word for child is Yalad. So I'm curious, it might be the different context that changes that word. What I I think when they use Banya, that would be Ban, which is son, and then the Ya would mean my child, maybe my son. So Lucky, that's something I'm gonna look into.
Kana Wakan.
I'm gonna leave that one alone for now. So yeah, we'll do these. I'll put one down here. Let's sleep. All right, so what we got for store is Ma I Rob. Ma I Rob. Ma I Rob. For dinner, we have Araka. A Ra Ka. Araka. And then sleep is Yashan. Yashan. All right. So we'll put some of these verbs and nouns together. And we'll see if we can make a couple sentences. So we got father, which is Abba, mother, which is Amma, store, which is Ma'irab, dinner, which is Araka, and then sleep is Yashan. All right. So in the Hebrew, we always write right to left. So in the English, it's a look backwards. We got all right. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's see if you can do this sentence for us. So we got I. I'm not sure if I've reviewed this with you before, so I'll just put I up for you. We have Anya. All right. Let's see if you can finish out this sentence in the Hebrew. So how would you say love in the Hebrew?
Ahab.
Ahab. Khan. So we have Anya. Ahab. And then how would you say my father?
Abaya.
Abaya. God. So when we see the my father, right? In the Hebrew, we would actually make this one word, right? So like Barak Ya'Allah said, it would be Abaya. Abaya. All right. I see you studying well, taking good notes.
Khan.
I hope to see you teaching this class soon. All right. Let's see if you can do this next one. I'll see if you can just do this on your own. I won't say nothing. All right.
Khan.
So what we'll do is we'll say a mother made dinner. All right. Mother made dinner. All right. How would you say that sentence in the Hebrew?
Ama Aisha uh, Araka.
Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. Well done, warrior. So we got Ama Aisha Araka. Ama, maid is Aisha. Dinner is Araka. 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 Ama Aisha Araka. All right. Putting these nouns and verbs together, right? We can sound out full sentences in the Hebrew. All right. So it's good that one class we did, we went over those 100 most common verbs, right? You wrote all those down. Be good to practice them, right? If you got people in your house, give them those commands. Speak it out in the Hebrew, right? Practice saying those verbs. These are things we use every day, right? We add that in with our nouns, right? We say ban, meaning son, or ama, which is mother, or abba, which is father, right? You can say things like shamka ama, or shamka ama, who's our mother, or whose mother, right? So let's try one more, and then we'll flow right into our topic. All right, let's see if you can do this sentence on your own. I'm going to the store.
Anya.
Anya, Khan. So when you say Anya, Anya means I or I'm, right? So we have Anya, Anya.
I don't know the verb for going.
Salakia, what's that?
I don't know the verb for to go.
You're breaking up a little bit. One more time.
Like when you're breaking up.
Salaki, maybe I'm breaking up. My internet might be bugging out a bit. Yeah, it's I can't hear you. I'll finish out this sentence. All right, but if you can hear me, Try writing out that sentence on your own, and then I'll write it down and just see if you got it right, all right?
So like when you're glitching.
Salakia, can you hear me now?
Kind of can, but there's a bad feedback. We're still glitching.
Salakia, we're just having some technical difficulties. Just give me 1 second. Salakia, can you hear me now?
It's still the same other one.
Still the same. All right, Salakia, I'll write this one sentence out. We'll finish the sentence. See if we can get this copied down. Testing.
Still the same other one.
Testing.
Voting ain't gonna help us, man. Marching ain't gonna help us, man. Protesting ain't gonna help us, man.
It's like for a nigga like me. It's like for a nigga like me. It's like for a nigga like me. It's like for a nigga like me.
Salakia, I'm having issues with my internet. Bear with me. Salakia for the technical difficulties. We'll be right back. Testing 1 2. 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 Okay. Salakia for that. We're back. The sounds okay to me. We should be good. So where we left off, all right, we were just finishing up a sentence, and then we're going to get into our present tense, all right? So how we would say this sentence in the Hebrew, I'm going to the store. In the Hebrew, we would say, Anya, Yalak, Laha Ma'irab. All right, Laha Ma'irab. Right? When you see to and the before the noun, right, we would use a prefix, right? This word to is la in the Hebrew. When you see the la character at the beginning of a word, right? The la character at the beginning of a Hebrew word, it would mean to. So we would say la to the. Again, at the beginning of the word, we got a prefix. We see the ha character. Ha means the. So we would say la ha ma'irab. All right? La ha ma'irab. All right? That's how that would look in the Hebrew. Anya, Anya, Yalak, Laha Ma'irab. All right? We have the one word there. All right? Salaki, Braki Allah, can you hear me okay? The sound sounded okay to me.
No, I cannot hear you properly.
Come, most I am Chris.
I said I cannot hear you.
All right, so
Properly. I cannot hear you clearly.
Salaki, what's that?
You're still good? Glitching.
Oh, it's glitching again. Okay.
I think it's on my side.
Salaki, it sounds okay on my side. Salaki, if you're tuning in, just hit a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Hit a 2 if you can't hear me. All right. We're going to keep going. So, all right, that was the last. We'll end there for the sentences. And then we'll get into, we're going to jump into our present tense, all right? right, so we'll use this word here, bayan. All right, bayan. Bayan. What bayan means in the Hebrew is to understand. All right. Bayan means to understand. And we're gonna go over how you use this word bayan in the present tense. All right. So we got a rule when we're using the present tense, all right? And this is something that's important to know. All right? This is a very important rule. So when we're using this word in the present context, in the present tense, this word changes from bayan in the Hebrew to ba. Ba wayan. All right? All right? So this is a rule. All right? Anytime we're using a word, anytime we're putting a word in its present tense, this is a very important rule to know, is that when you're making a word into the present tense, you take this word, which is bayan, meaning to understand, and what you do is you put the wa character in between the first and the second character. All right? So how this word looks, spelling it out in the Hebrew, we have a ba is the first character. What we're going to do, we're going to put the wa in between the first and the second character. So instead of saying bayan, we now have a ba and a wa. yan. We put the wa in between the first two characters. All right? So we now have ba wa yan. Ba wa yan. All right? This is the original word up here. Bayan. All right? This is the root word. And we're taking this root word, and when we use this word in a sentence in the present tense, we add the wa in between the first and the second character. All right? So the rule you can write down, the wa always goes between the first and the second character of the word. All right? Always. Very important you pay attention to these rules, because if you put the wa in the wrong spot, you could change the whole meaning. Change the meaning, change the word. All right? So bayan is the root word. And in the present tense, this word becomes ba-wa-yan. All right? This is how we pronounce it. Ba-wa-yan. Ba-wa-yan. All right? If you're tuning in, make sure you take notes. Just like in the English, how we have rules, or in the French, you have rules, whatever language you're speaking, there's rules. In the Hebrew, we have rules. All right? This is an important rule to follow. When you're making it present, again, you put the wa character in between the first and the second character. Always goes between the first and the second character. All right? So if we were using bayan in the present, it changes from bayan to ba-wa-yan. 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 All right? So this word bayan in the English means to understand. All right? To understand. And I'll go over a couple ways we'll see this word. All right? Or a couple ways you can use this word. All right? All right? So we're doing the present tense. Anytime we're speaking in the present tense, these are different ways you'll see that word banya. And you can take other verbs, right? Those other verbs you use, the same rule applies. You put the wa in between the first and the second character. All right? So if we were just saying, I understand, right? I or I am is anya. Anya. Anya banya. Right? Now we're going to the present tense. In the English, we would say understanding. And we would say ba wa ya. All right. And actually, sometimes in the English, in the present tense, we would still say understand. All right. Now, we're not going over the rules of English, but you'll find in the English, sometimes you're using a word in the present tense, and you would still just use understand. Right? In English, you could say, I'm understanding. Right? I am understanding would be present tense. You could also say, I understand. Still being present tense. Right? But in the Hebrew, anytime we're speaking in the present tense in the Hebrew, you will always have this character in between the first and the second character of a word. All right? So in the Hebrew, the present tense for understand is ba wa yan. Ba wa yan. So if you're saying I or I'm understanding, you would say anya ba wa yan. Anya ba wa yan. All right? And again, in the Hebrew, we always go right to left. All right? We're not speaking left to right like we do in the English. Right? We go right to left. So we have a, and na, and a ya. And when we connect the and the na together, right, we pronounce it an. Instead of saying na, ya, we say an, ya. An, ya. An, ya, ba, wa, yan. I'm understanding. All right. Let's do a couple more examples. All right. This is how we say he in the Hebrew. Ha-wa-ah means he. Ha-wa-ah. And again, we'll use this word understand, banya, and we'll put it in the present. And it would be ba, the wa after the first character and before the second character. Ba wa. Ba wa yan. Ba wa yan. All right. He understands. But why? Ba wa salakia. Ha wa ah. Ba wa yan. All right. He understands. That's how you would say it in the present tense. All right. Again, anytime we're in the present tense, you gotta put the wa in between the first and the second character. All right. Ha wa ah, ba wa yan. All right. And depending on how you pronounce words, if you say it a little fast, right, your Hebrew might flow a little better. It would just be ha wa ah, ba wa yan, right? It flows a little better, right? You're just learning, you're taking your time pronouncing each character. Ha wa ah, ba wa yan, right? Ha wa ah, ba wa yan. Ha wa ah, ba wa yan. That's how we would say it in the Hebrew. All right? So let's change this beginning word. Let's do she. Right? She. She is ha ya ah. Right? Similar to he, which is ha wa ah, she is ha ya ah. Now, something we have to do with this verb when we're speaking to the feminine or we're speaking to women, we got to add a verb. All right? So we still have the wa in between the first and the second character. All right, this always stays the same. Every time we're speaking in the present tense, Salakia, right? This always stays the same when we're speaking in the present tense, right? So instead of saying ban ya, we have ba wa yan. And now because we're speaking about a female, right? We add the ha at the end. All right?
Salakia.
Khan.
Isn't it Bawayan?
So when we're speaking about men, or we're speaking to a group of men and women, then we would just use ba wa yan. All right? But if we're talking about a woman, right? So that we're not being offensive to her, right? We're not saying she's masculine. We add the ha at the end of a word. At the ha at the end of the word. So I think you were Salaki, what's that?
That's not what I'm saying because you wrote ba wa na ya.
Oh, Salaki, I spelled that wrong. Salaki. Yeah, ba, wa. We have a ya. Wait, Salaki. Hold on. Ba, wa. We have a ba, a wa, a ya, and a na.
Salakia, other one.
Gone. Salaki, give me 1 second.
Kana wakan.
Gone. Salakia. That's what's tripping me out. I spelled that wrong up here. All right. To understand is bayan. All right. Bayan. All right. All right. Salaki, that, and I hope I went over the first word right. So I'll just write that down again, just in case I didn't. But we would have the ba, we have the wa in between the ba and the ya. Ba, wa, and then a ya. Right? So ba wa yan. Again, this is the present. Let's spell that out. Ba wa. Ba wa yan. Ba wa yan is the present tense. Right? Salaki, if I wrote that wrong down earlier, I think I wrote it right. I just spelled, when I was spelling it out up here, for some reason, I spelled it out banya. Right? Maybe I still had child in my head, or children. But, so understand is bayan, right? So now we're speaking about a she. When we said he, it was ha wa ba wa yan, right? That means he understands. When we change the he to a she, we now have ha ya. And we change, what we do is with this verb, we add a ha to the end, right? So now this word is ba wa ya na, gone.
Doesn't it mean she's understanding?
Gone. Yeah, exactly. So what we have in the English, right? In the English, we would use both of these words when we're speaking in the present tense. All right? The English has different rules. Sometimes you'd use understand in the present tense. Other times you'd also use understanding, right? So we have she understands. You could say, for example, she understands in English, right? Oh, Salakia. Yeah, let me take this one out for the present tense. But there are times that for example, if you say, I understand, right? In English, if you say, I understand, that would be the present tense, right? So all I'm saying is in the English, they have different rules. But in the Hebrew, we just add the wa in between the ba and the ya, in between the first and the second character. And that lets us know that this word is in the present. All right? So how we would say this in English, right? We would say this in the English. This is the present tense. She is understanding, right? And again, because we're speaking to a female or women or a woman, we would add the ha at the end of the word, right? That ha lets you know it's feminine. All right, so another example is we can say we are understanding. Right? And the word we in the Hebrew is a knock Noah. Knock. All right. This is how we say we in the Hebrew, a knock Noah. Now this one is a little different. All right. We would have the ba wa ya. Right? Or ba wa yan, ba wa ya an. Right? So this is how that word would be regularly. If we were spelling it out in the plural or in the present, it would be ba wa yan, right? Like we have down here. But because we're speaking now to a group of people, because this word is plural, we add a yam. And how you pronounce this? How you pronounce that is bawa yan yam. All right. When you see the yam at the end of the word, you know it's plural. All right. So again, this is in the present tense. We'd say anak nawa, we, or we are. Bawa yan yam. We're understanding. We're understanding. Now, in the Hebrew, when we're using these different characters to let us know if we're speaking about men or women, when we're speaking to a group of men and women, whatever takes authority is the characters we use. Meaning, the man has authority over the woman. All right? That's our culture. The man is very important. The man is the head. He comes first. So when we're speaking to a group of men and women, we would use yam. All right? If we were just speaking to a group of men, we would still use yam. All right? This is masculine. We'd say anak nawa, bawa yan yam. All right? And that means the men are understanding, or the men and the women are understanding. We're understanding. All right? If you have 50 women in a room and there's one man, and you're speaking to a group of 51 people, there's only one man there. Because you have a man, you still use yam. All right? That's the importance of a man. He's the head, he's the authority. So again, we're speaking to a group of men, or both men and women. Anak nawa, bawa yan yam. We're understanding. All right? Now, if you were speaking to a group of women, you would just change this character to the na. All right? This now becomes feminine. All right? You got 10 women, and they're saying, and somebody's saying, we understand. If a group of women understand, you say anak nawa, bawa yan yan. Y-A-N. Yan. You have a na at the end. Bawa yan yan. We're understanding. All right? Again, another example. Speaking to a group. You would say a thumb. Bawa yan yan. A thumb means you are. All right? And that's masculine. All right? A thumb is masculine. A thun is feminine. Right? All right? So these are all the different ways. These are some different ways that you would use bayan in the present tense. All right. So you would say, you are all a thumb speaking to men or a group of men and women. A thumb, bawa yanyam. We put the wa in between the first and the second character of the root word bayan, right? And because we're speaking the plural now, we added the yam. If we were speaking to women plural, we would say yan. All right? A thun, bawa yan yan. All right? So that's today's lesson. Just different examples on using a verb in the present tense. Those are different ways we would use it. And different examples on when we're adding in, when we're making that word possessive, right? So with that, we're going to end Friday night's Lashawan Qadash class. Let's clap it up. Going to give the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has a particular interest, Salaki, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister, Salakia. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. TITHES, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We just finished out the Day of Atonement. All right. Just finished out the Day of Atonement. I salute all you brothers and sisters who made it through that feast. All right. Very important feast day of the Most High. Very important high holy day. The upcoming holy convocations, we have the Feast of Tabernacles. The Feast of Tabernacles is the 15th day of the 7th month for 8 days. The Feast of Tabernacles is starting on Monday 20th, which is Tuesday, Salakia, Monday the 20th to Tuesday the 28th of September. You can read about it in Leviticus chapter 23, verses 34 to 44. With that said, men of Israel, I Majum, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. I Majum means stand. Men of Israel, I Majum Shabbat. I Majum, Barak, Yahweh Shimi Ashar Barak and Thumb, Yad Yamatah. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters, Sar Akwathian, which means turn and face the sisters, men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahah Shamar Alathan Bashim Yahashai, Yad Yamatah, class dismissed.